How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to AFTV Live. And welcome back, Laurie. What are you saying, man?
It's a pleasure to be on, man. I'm honoured.
Yeah, this is my first one in a little while as well. I've been on a little holiday. I thought, let me take a little break, come back to new news. There isn't so much new news out there.
I don't know about that, man. There's a lot going on in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
All of it to do with football.
There's always a lot going on in the world.
Yeah, man. The world has been changing since you was away.
Yeah, it's always changing. It was changing before I went away.
Now we've got a new leader of the country. Well, actually, we haven't got a new leader yet.
Yeah, well,
but we got rid of.
He's hanging on.
He's hanging on.
Good old Boris. He's hanging on.
By the way, I'm not supporting that. By the way, I'm neither supporting it or against it. There's non-political statement. It's a fact that Boris is resigning.
He is. He's announced it.
Don't get it twisted.
Not that changes much. It just changes the face, but no, it is what it is.
Some people out there will be interpreting it as a political statement. I'm just making it clear that, listen, what I said is a statement of fact insofar as that he's resigned. Well, he will do in October. I'm not saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it.
I hear you. Big up the chat as well. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Give us your thoughts as usual, people. I see a couple of people happy I'm back, a couple of people not so happy I'm back. But listen, if you're not so happy I'm back, I've been away 10 days. That's enough. I'm back now. And what's new, Laurie? Dubai's a nice place, I can't lie. It's a bit hot this time of the year. A couple of the attractions are closed, but yeah, enjoyed myself.
Glad
first one with my little man as well, so the memories there.
Wow.
Priceless. But big up everyone in Dubai. Showed love out there as well. But yeah, what's new? You tell me what's new over here regarding Arsenal. You told me about Boris resigning, but what's new with Arsenal? Talk to me.
You know what? It's been fairly steady. You know, we signed Jesus, which I was very pleased about. I would consider that a marquee signing. How do you feel about that? Sounds like you're not as infused as I am.
No, listen, Jesus is a good signing.
I like
it, but marquee,
it's not quite marquee.
Marquee to me means a Gnabry.
For Arsenal, that's a marquee, I think.
Well, if Jesus is a marquee, if we could get a Gnabry, what's that then? What's the word for that?
I'd say that's marquee as well.
Yeah, that's levels though. But I get what you're saying. Jesus, in the current climate Arsenal are in, to not take a player off Man City going into his prime per se, because they was done with him. No,
but it's an excellent signing for Arsenal. Very good player, can get you goals, good pressing game, still young, still ambitious. And it's the kind of guy that I think will significantly enhance the team. I really do. I think the manager, Arteta, would have worked with him closely at Man City. Presumably they've established a good relationship there, which is why Jesus was keen to come to Arsenal. So I think all the signs are there that it's going to be a very good signing. Is it one that can push us over the line in terms of qualifying for the Champions League the following season? We'll just have to wait and see. But to me, it's a step in the right direction.
Then again, before I left, and I know these rumours and whatnot, or the deal or whatever it was is squashing up, but before I left, Rafinha was very hot news, and it seemed like we was leading the race for him. You mentioned Jesus being the marquee signing. Do you think that, looking at this summer, come the start of the season, Jesus is going to be the biggest signing of the summer, or does the Rafinha rumours, links, or supposed bid or interest tell you that there might be a marquee signing around the corner still?
Good question. Out of the two, I think our need for somebody like Jesus is more than our need for Rafinha. I think Rafinha more fits into that winger category. And don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, but we do have options there already. Maybe not quite as good as Rafinha, but you know what I'm saying. So I think that the need for a goal scorer, a striker, is more apparent. But I would have liked to have got Rafinha. But I'm sure we're going to talk about it later. But I think the midfield is something that needs to be addressed. And I think if we can get Tielemans across the line, I'll be very happy with that.
You know what?
In fact, if I was given a straight choice between Rafinha and Tielemans, as good as Rafinha is, I would have gone for Tielemans. And maybe that's a question we need to ask the viewers, what they think.
And in terms of needs, 100%.
Yeah.
I think Rafinha is definitely the more exciting.
Yeah, he's more Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
Hollywood. I mean, the highlight reel goals and celebrations and enthusiasm when he scores and all that. Yeah, great. But I think if you narrow it down,
analyse the gaps in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the need for a Tielemans player, to me, is more so.
Yeah, I mean, since we've touched on it, I know the thumbnail and the title is around player sales and who's potentially transfer listed. Not that it's hard to guess. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. But you mentioned Tielemans, and there's a couple quotes around Tielemans. First, I'll start with Ben Jacobs, who was actually on Curtis Shaw TV. So big up Curtis. He managed to get Ben Jacobs on. I don't know too much about Ben Jacobs, but I do know that his name's being used an awful lot this summer in terms of transfer rumours, links.
Synonymous with transfer links, yeah.
On Curtis's channel, at Curtis Shaw TV, a direct quote, as a Leicester fan, Ben says, who has watched him week in, week out, him being Tielemans, I don't see a logical reason why Arsenal don't proceed at the price available, quoted 25 to 30 million. If they do, they will get the player. And Fabrizio Romano also said Arsenal have never changed their interest in Youri Tielemans. They are interested but haven't made an official offer. The player still expects the move to happen, and that was via Caught Offside, an article on their platform over there. So Curtis Shaw TV, Caught Offside, a couple quotes coming out of there. Surprisingly, Romano says a bid hasn't been made. Now, this is kind of my problem with the way Arsenal do business sometimes. Listen, Tielemans is a good player and he improves our side for sure. He's available for a low fee. Why wait around? I know you could potentially get it lower if push comes to shove, but that's relying upon other teams not showing interest. And so
Can
far,
I just ask, when was that statement?
the Fabrizio Romano one was in the last 24 hours.
Okay,
Ben
because I've
Jacobs.
seen, as of today, as of filming today, I've seen something where an offer has been made to Leicester in the region of 30 million. I don't know how authentic that is, but that's what I'm reading. Basically, what the article that I read was suggesting that Arsenal are, if not renewing their interest, but they're pursuing it with a bit more vigour. Maybe they need to add £1. 30 million. But listen, man, I really want Tielemans, bro, because for a number of reasons. He's robust. He's Premier League battle ready and tested. He can score goals. He's got ability. He's a Belgian international. He knows the Premier League inside out. And there has been some suggestions that he kind of down tools towards the latter part of the season, last season for Leicester. But, without wishing to be, that was Leicester's problem. I think that maybe he'd reached his natural end at Leicester, and he was unsettled. But I think if you're Arsenal, man, go get him. You've got to get him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I saw some moments from Tielemans last season that do worry me, but at the same time, it feels like he felt like the time is up at Leicester. And that's something I don't like in modern day football. If you're at the club, give your all and try your hardest and, seek a move amicably. But, football's changed an awful lot over the years.
And to be fair to the player, there might have been unforeseen circumstances that we didn't know about. So we have to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. Some of those guys that were saying he down tools were the same players that were lauding him in the seasons previous. So I tend not to dwell on that type of stuff. I'm looking at a player and I'm thinking where he could fit into our team. Don't get me wrong. Yes, Arsenal need to do their due diligence. So if there are some kind of issues of his character, then hopefully Arsenal have looked into that. But in terms of what he produces on the pitch, man, I think he's a top player.
And he's due to have a big World Cup with Belgium. Exactly. He's at that age now where, a step up to another club like Arsenal, going into the World Cup year, obviously, albeit midway through the season. Tielemans brings shots from outside the box. At the very least, I look at that as something missing from Arsenal. Odegaard is coming, and I like Odegaard. I like the way he plays and I like the culture he has on the ball, but something about him I don't like is in shooting positions he still tends to pass. Something that Ozil had as well. Nothing against the player, but I think we need a threat from outside the box. We haven't had someone that can shoot from outside the box for quite a while. Tielemans brings that, but so does Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about him too. But I mean, the reason why I've got a slight preference for Tielemans is because we know what he can do in the Premiership, because he's been doing it in the last few seasons for Leicester at a high level. He's been one of their better players over the past few seasons. Okay, some people saying, like I said, he tailed off towards the end of last season. There might have been reasons for that, who knows? But we do know that a motivated and Tielemans will significantly enhance Arsenal as a team, I believe. And he's also, what I like about Tielemans, he's robust, good tackler, good range of passing. In fact, he's got all the basic qualities of a midfielder that you need in a, modern day Premier League era. Yeah,
and the qualities that we lack at this moment in time. Bit of mobility.
And it seems to me very much as if the player wants to come, which is obviously also important. From what I understand, is that he's very keen for the move to happen.
Yeah.
So it makes sense on so many levels. I think it would be remiss of us not to go all in, man, and get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get it done, man. Get it done. Get it done.
If you had a choice out of the two, obviously we're closer to Tielemans in a sense where we live in this country, we watch this league a lot more. But if you had a choice out of Tielemans and Milinkovic-Savic, who would you lean towards? I've asked the people in the chat here. So far, Tielemans is winning the votes, but
I suspect that a lot of those people would have said they're leaning towards Tielemans. Yeah. Like myself, they're doing so because you go with what you know, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know too much about Savage. I've only been researching him, to be fair, in the past week or so since I've heard we've been linked with him.
I like him though.
Okay. No, you're right.
Yeah.
A lot of people who know a lot more about football than me have said he's a very good player, and apparently stats for last season are very good.
Yeah, he does a bit of both. I'd say the best way to describe him is probably box to box. Now, a lot of people might say, "Nah, he's this, he's that," but he does a few different roles well.
Right.
But I think box to box would probably be the best way to describe him. Let me know in the chat what you guys think, but I'd suggest that in the 8th position for me. Yeah, but you know what? Who's to say we don't need both of them coming in? At the end of the day, competition.
Listen, man, as you know, Turkish, your midfield is the engine room of the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to have options there. You need to have good players there. And during the course of the season, given the nature of the Premier League, how physical, fast and energetic it is, tackles going in left, right and centre, the amount of games you play, the different cup competitions as well as the league, it's a long, hard season. And of course, we're in World Cup as well coming up later on this year. So there's enough games, man. So, 2 or 3 midfielders not going to do it. You need to have a strong squad.
Yeah, 100%. We've got a couple of super chats in there. Tielemans is still winning the votes. I'm surprised about that one. Let me look at the super chats. Dave Jordan in the building. Glad to see you're well, Turkish. Thought the Don had sent you to swim with the fishes after refusing to do the samba intro for Jesus. Dave, big up Dave as well, man. I missed you, my guy. I hope you're good. Yeah, I left for 10 days and you lot got Cecil dancing outside the Emirates.
Hey, listen, man, Cecil doesn't need an invitation to
Yeah,
start
but come on,
dancing,
man. I went away for a couple of days and I see a video coming out, Cecil doing
I've got to say
madness.
that it was class, though, man. Shout out to my boy Cecil, man. The man knows how to move, doing all that,
Yeah, I see. Listen, I see you got some stick for it as well. But listen, you get stick for being positive, you get stick for being negative. Right now, we're at each other's necks so much as a fan base. We're letting them get away with some more shit. But we'll see in the next few weeks if they are going to get away with it. AFC
No, I
Max.
thought that video was proper good, man. I've got to say, you know what I mean? So,
Well, listen, I hope it's not thrown around my WhatsApp groups come midway through the season like the Thomas Partey video
there's always
was.
that danger.
But I'm not.
But
on
shout
that.
out to Cecil, man. It was quality video.
Yeah, big up. And he's in Germany right now, actually. Obviously, we've got our first pre-season friendly tomorrow. Nuremberg. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Cecil's out there. Lee Judges is out there.
Big up to all them, man.
A vlog's already come out today, I believe. So after this video, go over, watch that vlog, and they're going to be doing videos here and there. I've passed over box to box to Cecil that this one time. I want to see how he handles it. Let us know how he handles it when it comes out in the next day. Well, it has to come out the next day before the game. But big
For
up
me,
them lot.
pre-season's like quite an exciting time because what you're starting to see now is that hopefully a lot of the transfer business is done. Some of those players, again, Gabriel Jesus, the other guys, Vieira, Marquinhos and Matt Turner, people like that, they'll be out on the pre-season tour and they'll be looking to impress. And, as fans, we will see games, snippets of games. And it's a time for those guys to assimilate themselves into the team, get to know their teammates. We sort of start getting to know them. It's quite an exciting time, man. And then you start projecting forward, isn't it? You're thinking, you're wondering how this guy's going to do in an Arsenal shirt. You're wanting to find out about how he's getting on in the friendlies and so forth. So,
yeah, I mean Saliba as well. You want to see him, but it's nice that coming into our first pre-season friendly, we've got an exciting signing in Jesus. I'm not sure about Vieira, but he came up in a picture with a foot cast on his foot or some sort of foot protection. So I'm not sure if he's going to play any part. Turner, you said might. Marquinhos, I'm not sure either, but. Going into the American pre-season tour, before we move on to the outgoings, how many more signings do you think we need to go into that? Because that is essentially the kickstart of the season. We go into America, we come out of America, into the Emirates Cup and straight into the first game week.
I think the first thing to say is that transfer windows, especially modern football, is a crucial part of the season. And it's so important that you try and get your business done early and that you do the right type of business. Obviously, that goes without saying. But I think trying to get the business done early is crucial because, as we said, once you've acquired these players and they become part of your club, then you can start taking them away on these tours, assimilating them in a team, giving them some game time. And I think, obviously, you'll integrate these players better if they're signed earlier and able to take part in the tours rather than last-minute signings having to come in. Then you're still not sure about their fitness levels and stuff like that. And not just fitness levels, how they will get on with their teammates, you know what I mean? So these games do have some importance, don't they? Because what you're basically, it's not so much the results. What you're trying to do is, like I said, integrate these guys into the team, give them minutes,
build
see
connections,
their best positions with their best partnerships, stuff
Yeah,
like that. So it's very important stuff.
Yeah, you can learn a lot about movement of each other and so
Yeah.
on. And Jesus coming in to play such a pivotal role through the middle, essentially. We need Saka to know what Jesus is on. We need Martinelli, Odegaard, Vieira, all these players around to know what Jesus is on.
I'm even speculating that the manager at times might want to play Eddie and Jesus together in the same team. What do you think? There's a possibility that could happen.
Listen, I'm not saying Eddie's like Jesus, but I don't think they're too dissimilar enough for me to say they'd play together. Listen, if we need a goal, we're 1-0 down or it's 0-0 in a cup competition and you know we need a goal, then putting two strikers on makes sense. So potentially in those situations.
Yeah, because why I say that is because, let's face it, Eddie and Jesus, they're not your typical, you know, out and out number 9s, Alan Shearer type like players, are they? They're more your, you know, nippier, quicker, fox in the box type of players. You know what I mean? And sometimes, I mean, we've seen it in the past, seen it with some of the great Brazil sides, remember? You get two strikers up front.
Yeah, fluidity.
We've seen it at City at times as well, when he played for City, you know what I mean? So listen, man, there's permutations there, you know what I mean? And I think that's what Gabriel Jesus brings with him, you know what I mean? I think that he has those qualities that you can do that. Yeah. So it's not inconceivable that you could see the two of them in the same team. I'm not saying it's going to happen every week, but the manager has that option.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he's trying to create, that fluid front three where you can, you can shift people about. The 8 and the 10 play a big role in the front,
you
make
can
it
see,
front 5.
For example, Jesus shifting out to the right and Eddie going through the middle. And then if that's not quite working, they could swap it around. You know what I mean? So
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. AFC Max here says, welcome back home, Turkish. Good to see you back in perfect health. You were missed when you were away. And I hope you and your son enjoyed your time away. Also, we did, my guy, love for the love. Also got to make sure I activate my anti-negative shield. Love you. #Australia. Listen, so far, okay in the transfer window. It could be better. It could be worse.
Out of 10, how much would you give it?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, 5. And 5 is, the Saliba, well, not contract, but him coming back, Jesus, Vieira. With Marquinhos, because this is the third year of the process and now really and truly top 4 minimum, Europa League, cool, let's get a trophy as well. I feel like Marquinhos, I'm not putting him in.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
For example, I done Supporters Club earlier. Chris Hudson said we've made 4 signings this summer. I've said we've made 2 because Marquinhos for me is one for the future and Turner we knew about in January. So for me, Vieira and Jesus come in and then Saliba's come back. 5 for me so far.
I'd go a bit higher than that, man. I'd go 6, maybe even a 6.5. I'm quite positive about the people that's come in. And,
if it ended like this?
Yeah, I'd say 6.5.
Still?
Yeah. Because listen, man, I've got high hopes for those guys.
Fair enough.
And so that's why I'm on the 6.5. But I do get it. We do need to make more signings. If we can get the Tielemans, man, I think that bumps it up to a 7 or 7.5.
I'm looking at a couple more players before we go up to that level.
Yeah. Listen, man, you can always improve your squad.
Don't get me wrong, Martinez. I really want Martinez. That profile of player, it just it sits well with I think what we need. Adds depth as well in certain positions. Adds quality in certain positions. So if we had a Tielemans, Martinez, and then another forward that gets goals, because listen, I thought we needed 2 strikers. We were obviously going for 1. Eddie's been signed, but Rafinha was linked. Rafinha brings goals, creativity. So another attacking forward that brings goals.
Yeah.
Tielemans or Savic and Martinez, and then I'd be looking at 8. then I'd be looking at 8. Yeah. But I also don't want to start the season with any L's before we make moves for them. So that also plays a part. Because if we got those 3 in before the first week of the season, I'd say 8, maybe even, I might even lean a bit more into the excited 8.5 category or 9, whatever. But if we waited 3 games where we've dropped points in 2 of them and then we signed 2 of those players, it wouldn't be at 8, 8.5 anymore. It'd come down to 7, 7.5. Because for me, it's how you do it. It's, absolutely. Let's be proactive, because we missed out on top 4 by 2 points last season. We missed out on top 4 by, what was it the season before? Was it 3 points or 6 points? Essentially a couple games difference. Both times we haven't started the season well. So as much as the season's long, drop points here and there can come back to bite you. So let's start the season front foot.
No, I agree. And I think what's encouraging is that, we do have to go by what he's saying. And in the past, he hasn't always lived up to that expectation. But Edu has said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but he's saying words to the effect that the fans can be excited because they are pursuing targets and they're confident they can get them. So if that is to be the case, then even better, So I'm expecting it to be more business.
Yeah, well, the
100%.
There better be more business, because I see a lot of Kroenke prop going on Twitter and whatnot. Listen, it's way too soon to be, lauding or praising the Kroenkes. It's way too soon. It's not about winning transfer windows. It's about challenging for titles. It's about challenging for major honours. It's about being in and around the conversation at the top end of the table. That's when you really start turning around and looking at him differently. You don't look at him differently because all of a sudden, we're spending more than we're used to spending. Because yes, that was one variable that needed changing, but there's so many more. There is. And unless they change as well.
And it's not just spending, is it? It's spending wisely, because listen, a couple of seasons
otherwise
ago,
United would have had like 5 of the last 7 titles if you're spending.
I was going to use the example of Nicolas Pepe, and in fact it's a player that I liked, and I still do like, but I have to be honest and say it's not worked out. And there was a lot of money spent on that project and it's not delivered. So it's not a case of just throwing money at it. You've got to spend wisely. You've got to choose your targets wisely.
You've got to manage it.
You've got to manage it. You've got to do your due diligence on the player. So there's a lot that goes into it, man.
Yeah, so, a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Absolutely.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves because one piece has moved in our favour. Let's make sure the whole board is moving in our favour. Melindwa says, glad to have you back, Turkish. Milinkovic-Savic would be the KDB to Arteta's system. Brilliant technically, physically complete midfielder. Could be, I think, De Bruyne's more mobile for sure. But yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of being that piece that can kind of link the defence and attack, or the box-to-box midfielder.
If he's been likened to KDB, then boy, you must be.
Yeah, I think that's getting ahead of ourselves. But listen, Savic is a good player, 100% a good player. Savic and Onana in midfield would be fantastic, says Manpreet. And Young Gunner says, glad Turkish is back. Had to put up with Julian's delusion. Jokes, all love, guys. Great content. Come on, my guy. And Oz here at the beginning said, one player that I feel should be leaving this summer is Patino. I want to see him go to a championship side and see his progression in a division which can match the weekly physicality of the English Premier League, even if it lacks the quality. And that's a kind of a nice segue onto the next subject, which is outgoings. We often talk about incomings and, we try and, see hope in rumours from left field journalists or wherever it is, Incomings is the hot topic during summer. But business is business. And over the years, Arsenal's outgoings and departures haven't been good business. Even down to, this summer alone, we've made 13 million on player sales. But they was agreed beforehand. Matteo Guendouzi, I'll put as 10 million. I know the rumours are 9 million. I'm going to give the benefit of that and say 10 million for Guendouzi, and Mavropanos.
With today's inflation, 10 million.
3 million for Mavropanos. So 13 million we've made from player sales in total. Both sales very much under their market value, in my opinion. But it's commitments.
Yeah, I think Guendouzi.
Come on,
really
100%. But commitments from last summer's negotiations have come back to bite us in a sense. We've got to start doing business properly on that end as well, because part of the problem that we had going into that awful wage structure and the mess financially over the years was that we wasn't shrewd in the market, both incomings and outgoings. So,
although to be fair to Arsenal, that is a problem that affects a lot of clubs because market value can drop very, very quickly. And we're going to go through this, but So, for example, let's look, for example, at Nicola Pepe. I mean, how much did we pay?
First one on the list, 72 mil.
72 million.
Well, we're still paying it off, but yeah, we're obliged.
Yeah, we are. And let's be honest, it's not been a good signing.
No, far from.
I believe that the player does have ability, does have talent. For whatever reason, it's not quite worked out. But I do have a slight criticism of Arsenal in the way Pepe's been handled, because, and I'm going to try and articulate it as best as I can. So if you have a player like Pepe that cost you so much money to the point where you're still paying it off, I would have thought that even if he's not in the team, the way you what's the word I'm looking for? The way the player has been treated, I think we've also helped to devalue him as a player, and now we're struggling to offload him.
100%, Laurie.
He's not been played enough. The manager, it's very clear to everyone to see that this manager does not think that Pepe is in his plans. He's also spoken of him ill on a couple of occasions and been quite dismissive of him. And I just think that has contributed to there'd been no interest in him. You know what I mean? They're finding it difficult to offload the guy now, whereas if he'd been handled a bit differently, I don't think his market value would have dropped as much as it appears to have dropped now. What do you think?
Well, I agree. As soon as you say market value, I think of Guendouzi. And I think of, when Arteta came in, Guendouzi was probably worth about 40 mil, let's say, 45 maybe, age and projection, potential, all of that. In the end, we lose him for 9 million. Now, I'm not putting that solely on Arteta. Part of that problem is chopping and changing. After Wenger, towards the end of Wenger, it seemed like we wanted to go to a head coach role with a director of football. Wenger wasn't on that. Eventually, Wenger departed, and we went into that with Unai Emery, head coach, and Raul Sanllehi, and whatever, the director of football. And that business was done then. But then, within a year, Sven Mislintat's gone, then Raul's gone, and then we're back from head coach to manager with Arteta again. So that doesn't help players that come in that mini period where you've kind of tested the waters with something that is new to us, and then quickly reverted back to the old. I'm not saying Arteta had to play Guendouzi or had to fix the issue, but what I am saying is, it's fact. We had a market value for the player there, and in the end, he left for very little in comparison.
Basically, you're looking at assets and liabilities, like the finance world, isn't it? I mean, you bought a player as an asset, and now he's turned into a liability. I mean, listen, as I said, if you bring in a player, and listen, I'm not saying that you have to play him because you paid X amount of money for him, and let's be honest, it wasn't Arteta's player, so to speak, in the first place, because he didn't buy him. But what I'm saying is, if you have a player, and he's not quite in your plans, there is a way you treat that player so that when the time comes and you want to offload him, it becomes easier to offload a guy that there is a certain amount of marketability around. If he's not been playing, if he's been ignored, if he's just been, in the stands, you are, like it or not, you are devaluing that player. And when you've paid so much for a guy, and now you're struggling to get rid of him, is it any wonder why? That's the point I'm trying to make.
Even if you get the player on good loan moves or decent loan moves, because today I put it down as well. Torreira, it looks like he's on his way to Fulham. Andreas Torreira at United, someone that was deemed a hot prospect for like 7 years, and he's probably still is deemed a hot prospect to some. 4 of the last 5 seasons he's been out on loan: Granada, Valencia, Lazio, most recently Flamengo. But United still managed to get 10 million for him from Fulham, plus 3 million in add-ons potentially. Whereas, like I keep on mentioning, Guendouzi, Naim, or Leno is another one, for example, that Fulham have been linked to. Surely we can get 10 mil for Torreira, 10 mil for Bellerin, 10 mil for Leno, 10 mil for Maitland-Niles. And that's me undercutting, in my opinion, the value, because I'm sure you could get 13, 14 million if you really was conducting business properly. So on Nicolas Pepe, how much do you think we could get for him this summer, if anything? Because with the whole loan thing as well, it's no use waiting for a player to be in his last 2 years before finding a loan for him, because then the power goes to the other team, the power goes to the player. Nicolas Pepe now, with, I think he's got 2 years left. There was a 5-year deal in 2019. He's got 2 years left. all I can see for him is a loan move. Maybe a 5 million fee up top or a 10 million fee up front and a loan move with an option to buy, something along those lines. What do you see?
No, I see similar. As I said, I think that the problem with Pepe is that because he's not been given, well, I say no minutes, he has been given some minutes, but next to no minutes, and it's kind of ended, let's be honest, in a very sort of underwhelming fashion. When I say ended, it's, you know what I mean, he's not ended yet, but you know what I'm saying. The latter part of the season especially, he was getting virtually no game time. He's just stuck up in the stands with his long coat on, looking miserable. And he wasn't in the manager's plans at all, seemingly. And even when he was being spoke of, it did appear that the manager had kind of run out of patience with him. So what I'm saying is that type of energy translates.
Yeah.
So when people see that, it's not something that clubs are going to want to say, well, actually, we'll take him off you and we'll give you a good amount of money. They'll be like, well, you know what I mean? So he's become the forgotten man, really.
Yeah.
Literally,
we don't help ourselves
man
in that situation.
Exactly, and that's not helping anyone, because it's not helping the club because they're not going to use him. It's not helping Pepe because he's not getting any better. He's stagnating. And then you're going to find it very, very difficult to offload him to somebody else. So all I'm saying is, in the future, those things need to be taken into account when treating a player.
I'm going to put NA next to Pepe because it's hard to really distinguish how much we can get for him. Bernd Leno,
I think you're looking at 20s, man.
Well,
if that.
I'd say that, but then I still lean towards a loan than an option to buy being the safer bet for a team chasing him as well.
But as far as I'm aware, are you aware of any clubs that's shown
a
real interest in Pepe?
No.
I've not heard him linked to one club, really. Have you?
No.
And I mean, come on, man. The guy he's a talented player.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock that he's not linked to anyone.
Yeah, it's a big shock to me. But then maybe it's not a shock because, like I said, I have to say that the treatment of Pepe has not been the best, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Bernd Leno, bare minimum. I'd say 8 million if we can get for.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a little bit surprised at Leno as well, because I would have thought, okay, I'm hearing rumours, strong rumours that Fulham are interested. But I would have thought that he would have interested a few more clubs than Fulham, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so am I. Leno's a good keeper.
Some of the top clubs that are coming up to the Premier League.
Well, that's one of them, but I think
some of the mid-table Premier League clubs, you would have thought that they might want somebody, because Leno's a talented keeper.
Yeah, and he's just past 30 years of age, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
German international.
So you think 8 million fair or too low? 8 million's fair.
And let's face it, when you're a goalkeeper, you can go on a few more years.
Yeah, you can hit the latter 30s. You can hit the latter 30s. His agent has even insinuated that he wouldn't mind staying for the final year either. So we'll see how that one plays out. But I'm going to say 8 million. I'm going to go lowest of low with these fees just to see how much we can recoup with the player sales. Now, those two players, Pepe and Leno, they were part of the first team squad. The rest of the players I've got on this list were all out on loan, so it has no effect on incomings, outgoings, places in the squad, 25 whatever. Maitland-Niles, he was in the squad initially, a plea for an exit at the end of the transfer window last year. He went to Roma in January, didn't work out well for him. So far, again, no links to clubs, no solid links. How much do you think we can get for him?
Well, he's an English player, so that will help him. He's an England international for former years. However, as you said, the loan move at Roma, it would appear, did not go the best. I seem to remember Mourinho was openly critical of him at some stages during that loan move to Rome. I don't know, it's a difficult one. Again though, I see a guy that could definitely interest some clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah, why not?
Because he is a good player and he does have a certain versatility about him that you can play him in different positions.
Patrick said he was linked to Forest here. I just see that chat come up.
Yeah, there was interest from Forest apparently, but how much of it was real interest to...
I'm going to put 8 million again.
I would go a bit more than that.
What are you saying, 10?
10 plus, yeah.
Let's say 10 mil for Laurie there.
Yeah.
And you agreed with the 8 for Leno, cool. Bellerin. A successful loan move for Bellerin, but because of the way we've conducted business over the last couple of years, especially outgoings, Real Betis thought they'd pull a fast one, ask us to cancel the contract. But in reality, I'm on Arsenal's side in this one. I think give us something.
Yeah, of course.
There was an option to buy in the contract, I believe, for 10 mil, and they didn't even want to do that. In my opinion, 10 mil is a fair price for Hector Bellerin.
It's further complicated, of course, because Bellerin said that he wants to stay at Betis,
Yeah.
doesn't he? So, listen, man, if you can get something done, then do it, because I don't think you're going to go to too many other clubs, is he?
No, he's not.
So,
What are we saying? Bare minimum for Bellerin then? 10?
yeah.
10? I'd agree with that. Let's say 10. Cool.
I think it might even be slightly less than that, to be honest. But, yeah, 10 at the absolute max.
So we say minimum 8.
Yeah, I'm saying you're looking at
cool.
6 to 8, to be honest.
Let's say 8 mil for you. Torreira, another one. Successful loan move. Option to buy there. Fiorentina. Again, I look at the club and say, listen, it's because of the way we've let players go that these clubs think they can pull fast ones. They haven't triggered the option. He's back with us. He wants to go. Bare minimum for Torreira?
I think Torreira might be a difficult one. Reason being is that there's no secret that he's found it hard to settle in this country. So obviously that narrows down where he's going to go.
I think he said Italy or Spain.
Yeah.
His number's been given away.
Yeah, and both of those countries are not flushed with money in the same way the Premier League is, especially some of the lower levels of the clubs in those two countries. So you could be looking at about 6 million.
You're going to say 6, yeah? And this is a player we bought for, what was it, 24 million or something?
See what I'm saying about devaluation, you know what I mean? It's very real.
I'm going to say 8 million again. I'm just going to... But I
think
understand.
if you get 8 million for him, you're doing well in today's market.
Which is mad,
I
considering.
know that sounds crazy, but I think I genuinely feel they might struggle to get rid of Torreira.
Pablo Mari. I thought he was on the verge, but
struggle.
yeah, that's a struggle. Again, I probably lean towards a loan move for him more so than anything, because if we're seeking a fee, listen, it's not someone we spent a lot on. I think we spent about 8 million on him. So
I was talking about Pablo Mari with Curtis today when we did the Turkish Cheap Show. Check out that show if you can. And we were saying that with Mari, he's not done a whole lot wrong. It's just that he's quite a steady player, isn't he? But he doesn't have any special effects. He's not blessed with a lot of pace. He's not blessed with a lot of physicality. So he is going to struggle to really attract some of the top clubs, more high-profile clubs. So again, you might struggle to offload a guy like that for a decent price.
I'd say 6 mil. I'm just gonna.
You will be lucky. That could be kind of optimistic, but you're seeing a pattern emerging.
100%, yeah, 100%.
There's not a lot,
and I see some like people in the chat are debating it. Listen, we're going for the bare minimum now. I see someone said if Chelsea can sell Zappa Costa for 10 mil, Bellerin's 15. Listen, bare minimum, because they need to hit the exit door, and teams don't seem to be.
It depends on who's going to want to pay for these guys.
That's what I mean. Yeah, there's not an abundance of teams waiting for these players to come in.
And then you got guys like Bellerin, you're sort of entering into the final years of their contract. If you're not careful, they could end up going for free.
Holding on to it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right there. You went for 8 for Bellerin. I'd probably lean toward. But listen, Marie, what are you saying? 6 too high? 5? 4? I
think, yeah, man. And that's no disrespect to the player. I'm just talking about in today's
5
markets,
or 4?
you're looking at 5. Yeah.
5 mil. Last on this list, and this list was formulated of a... Listen, I see some people saying Xhaka in there as well. If it was my list, he would be on there as well. This is just the players we know are out of favour. We know need to find other clubs. We know we need to move on.
Those players that you've mentioned there are A, out of favour,
yeah.
and B, it would appear that Arsenal made him available for transfer. That's my understanding of the situation.
Yeah, that's exactly that, because I could add a few names, but they're in favour, it seems. Rhys Nelson, last but not least on this list.
Rhys Nelson, that's an interesting one, because if you remember, a few years back, Rhys Nelson was being spoke of in very high terms. You know what I mean? He was a player whose ceiling was thought to be
higher than Saka's, higher than Smith-Rowe's and so on.
For whatever reason, it's not quite worked out. I was actually happy when he went on loan to Holland. It would appear that he's done quite well over there.
Up and down.
Move? And again, you're looking at a place like Holland, whereby they're not flush with money in those countries. So even if you did manage to fetch a fee for him, it's not going to be a lot of money. Because those clubs are going to know that your options are limited when they come to you, aren't they?
Yeah. That English young winger has potential.
But unless, the English tax works only when you're selling to another English club. And it wouldn't appear that there's a lot of English clubs kicking down Arsenal's door, wanting to sign Rhys Nelson.
So what's the bare minimum for him then?
Again, you're looking at the fives, man. Five. Sixes.
All right, cool. I'll put a 5 there. I just
listen, man. I'd love to be able to say 10, 15, 20, but
I'm not looking at above 10.
In today's market, that's as good as it's going to get for some of those guys, bro. I mean,
I'm gonna put 8 mil there. For
yeah,
Rhys.
I think if we saying Ainsley could be worth between 8 and 10, then you have to say Rhys Nelson should be between at least 6 and 8. But
yeah.
If I'm being honest, you're not going to get that much more for him because, like I said, it doesn't appear that there's too many English clubs
in
the market for him, does it?
There isn't. Out of the minimum fees you said, so what, you put 6 for Leno, 10 there, 16, and 8 for Bellerin, 24, another 6 for Torreira, 30, 5 for Marie, 5 for Nelson. So that's a 40 million you could get from that. 40 million secures you Yuri Tillemans and some change. I've gone for 8, 16, 10, 26, another 8, 34.
I mean, the
40,
one that jumps off
mil.
the page there as totally devalued is Pepe, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't even classed him as a fee there because we don't know how that's going to...
And again, like I said, I think the club has to take some of the responsibility for that because what they've effectively done over the past couple of years is devalue that player. Whether, you can say, well, he's not earned his place in the first team, but I just think the lack of minutes, the lack of profile he's enjoyed, some of the negative comments that appear to have come from the manager has not helped.
Yeah.
So now you're stuck with a guy that you paid 70 odd million for, possibly still paying it off, and you can't get rid of him. So it's just bad business all round.
That's why in terms of Pepe, again, I'm going to lean to the loan because you'd hope that, listen, you take a 5 million loan fee, maybe a little bit more, and you tell the club, listen, 30 million at the end of the season option. And you hope that he hits the ground running at the club, he becomes a focal part of their attack, and by the end of the season the club are already thinking about how to pay for him before the season even finishes. That's the best possible scenario for Pepe.
But what you typically find with loans is, even if the guy has a good season with that, so for example Bellerin, if you think about it, Betis are in a strong position because they will just say, look, we can't afford the player, well, let's take him again on loan. Arsenal say, no, if you want him that much, stump up some money. They'll say, well, we'd love to, but we haven't got the money. Then at the same time, you've got the players saying, I don't really want to stay at Arsenal, I prefer to go to Betis. So it's very difficult on Arsenal, really, isn't it? Because they're kind of...
And that's why you don't let the contract run down so low before making a move like this. Because you're right, the Bellerin situation shows you what a loan in the second to last year of the contract can do. Yeah. The powers with Betis, the powers with Bellerin.
That's why clubs who hold the registration of the player, they don't like loans for the most part.
Yeah,
because ultimately
done and dusted.
It's just going to be a way of getting a player on the cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then even sometimes when these players go on loan, I'm not saying it's happened in Bellerin's case, but the club has to stump up a good proportion of the wages.
Yeah, some sort of percentage.
So, loan deals, are not the best.
And my fees have totaled 48 million. So you can see there from those players, excluding Nicolas Pepe, 40 to 50 million. It's laughable because some of those values there, it should be higher, but it's the way Arsenal have dealt with the player and mismanaged a few of those along the way and allowed contracts to be coming to an end. But 40 to 50 million, when you consider we've spent, I put it down here, we spent 84 million, 45 on Jesus, 30 on Vieira, 75 million, and then 3.5 on Marquinhos and 5.5 on Turner. So that comes to 84 million. If you can get 40 to 50 million back from the players that are on the fringes, all of a sudden you've cleared the deck a bit more. You've got you've got that financial power again to go again. You can cover a Tielemans signing and add the change onto the budget you have left already and continue moving forward with incomings. But like I said, over the years, outgoings have been as much a problem at this club as some of the incomings have, as you can see with the values.
To be fair to Arsenal, they're by no means the only club that kind of situation applies to. So, the market at the moment is not good. It's not a selling market, really, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not. It's not, and we don't help ourselves with the way we go about it. So it's not a selling market, and you're right.
I think what it is now, clubs have to be quite creative and quite sort of think outside the box when they do certain deals now and look at certain players.
Yeah, we have to.
They're going to have to, because
We have to.
you kind of get certain players that we're always going to be not quite at that. So, for example, your Haalands, your Mbappe's and people like that. Top draw players that we're not even going to be in the conversation for. Then there's the sort of level below. You know what I mean? Then there's a level below that. And then other than that, then that's when you have to start being creative, go abroad, improve your scouting systems in this country and things like that to try and find those next players. So, yeah.
Nick here, super chat time. Turkish makes some great points. Love Nick. So does Laurie. Manpreet says Pepe's purchase was a scam. We paid double his value. I assume that's what he ended with. And yeah, that's what it looks like.
The thing is, though, I remember at the time when Arsenal were in the running for Pepe, there was a few other clubs. And we were quite cock-a-hoop as fans when we signed him, remember?
Yeah, I was over the moon. I can't even lie to you.
Yeah.
That was an exciting signing.
We beat off a few other clubs to sign him. And now look. A few years later, we're all scratching our head and saying, you know, why did we ever get him in the first place? But that's football for you, man.
Sean says, does a swap deal with Pepe and Tielemans sound like a good idea? Well, it would, but if that interest was there from Leicester, we would have heard about it already. Exactly. So I doubt there's any
Leicester
interest.
are going to say we want the cash.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to say they've got Harvey Barnes and one or two other guys there.
Tom,
I don't think they're going to want Pepe, to be honest.
Tom says, sell Xhaka. Which is what I mentioned earlier. Azza says, hey Turkish, my guy, missed your insight. Yuri, when? I can't tell you, my bro. I can't tell you. I was hoping to come back to another new sign, and I don't mean Jesus, because we knew that one was coming for a little while, but here we are. C Extreme says, big up guys, Nelson has to stay. I have the feeling that he would pick up this season after his decent loan spell. His age fits Arteta's profile. I get that, but you know, Marquinhos, isn't he a right-sided winger? Rafinha, we went in for right-sided. Saka's already there. So for me, it seems like Nelson's time is up at the club, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, for Rhys Nelson, I mean, like I said earlier in the show, we've been hearing about his ceiling, we've been hearing about his potential for a while. For whatever reason, it's not materialised in that way. It would appear to me, and listen, there is a player in there, I'm sure, but I just don't think it's going to work for him at Arsenal. It's time that he started looking.
Yeah, I wish him luck as well, man.
Yeah.
Who has the best ball knowledge at AFTV?
That's a good question.
Who would you say? Let's say excluding us, because I'll vote for myself, but it is what it is.
Listen, man.
I'm not voting for your brother, that's for sure.
You're not?
Nah.
No, nor would I.
He says some wild things sometimes. James, it depends what you mean by ball knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. If you're talking about stats and what people know and, you know, things like that, then...
If you're talking about maths, then James, basically.
Yeah. If you're talking about understanding football and the formations and how the game works, I think you're looking at someone like Curtis, who's played the game at the highest level.
Graham's also a good shout.
Graham, he's a keen sort of student of the game, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, the good thing though, what I would say is that everybody brings different things to the table.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
I mean?
I agree with that.
We've all got our different areas of knowledge, you know what I mean? So
I agree.
It works ultimately.
Kyle says, sell 8 players for 40 million to buy 1 player. No, but Kyle, 6 of the 8 players I mentioned, they wasn't with us last season already, and the other 2 mentioned, we've bought Leno's replacement, and with Nicolas Pepe, you know, it's time, my guy. So as much as, yes, when you say 8 players for 1, it doesn't seem to make sense, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense instead of losing players for free and giving contracts to players that, you know, you're forced into at the end of the season because you want to hold value, which is something we've done over the last couple of years.
As I said earlier, market forces in football are changing, and you know, I mean, it's not easy out there to do deals and stuff like that and get. In other words, what I'm saying, the players very quickly lose value, don't they?
Yeah.
So somebody who's worth 25, 30 million this season, all it takes is to have a slightly indifferent season, and he's probably devalued by a third of that when it comes to the following season.
Just a heads up, is 5 to 6.
Right.
If you need to bounce.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, just let you know.
Yeah.
You're out? Yeah. I'll wrap it up. I'll do the last 5-10 minutes, man. Laurie,
it's been a pleasure coming
on. Man. It's been a little while since I've been engaging with these guys.
Man, I'd
so
love to do it again soon, man. But yeah, thank you very much.
No worries, man.
And see you guys soon.
Go do your thing. I'm going to look at the other super chats and we come to the middle of the table, people.
Okay.
Let's get this chair out of here. Get that mic out of here. All right, cool. Let's see what the super chats are saying. Iron Man says, to be fair, Willock was one of the best business we've done over the years. Sad that none of our Oh. You've been watching the show?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you like what's being said?
Yeah. See you lot up there dissing me, you know what I mean? Yeah, I said, don't worry, man. You know what I mean? You think I don't hear what? Right?
This guy,
man up there dissing me, you know what I mean? Got no football knowledge and all that. I ain't gonna say Robbie. Yeah, don't worry, man. You know what I mean? And then the cheek of my brother, right? He doesn't even stay till the end of the show.
Listen, your brother's a real one, man. Don't worry, man.
He bounces before the show finishes.
He's got things to do. Big up Robbie, man. He's coming.
I see you got your notes again. Look.
Always, Rob. Always.
Man's got his computer and notes. Yo, bro, what's going on?
Old school, Rob. Old school. Iman says, to be fair, Willock was one of the best businesses we've done over the years. Sad that none of our bench loanees are worth 10+ mil. Big up AFTV. Love from Egypt.
Oh, big up.
You saw what we was talking about in terms of value of the players that are on their way out and whatnot. You disagree? Well, Nicolas Pepe.
I didn't catch the full values. So what was the full values that you went?
So with Pepe, we both said it's hard to say whether it's a loan with an option or whether we get anything. So Leno, 8 mil.
Yeah.
Maitland-Niles, 8 to 10 mil. Bellerin, 8 to 10 mil. Torreira, 6 to 8 mil.
I think we'll get about 10 mil for Bellerin.
Yeah, so it could be that. 6 to 8 for Torreira.
Ooh, more than that.
Bare minimum, Rob, just to get them out now. Because how many years in a row are we going to be loaning them out to be?
I'd say you get a 10 million for Torreira, you know.
Pablo Marie, 5 to 6 mil there.
10 for him again as well.
10.
Yeah, it's quite a few clubs after him.
Rhys Nelson. Laurie went 5, I went 8.
Yeah, about 8.
Yeah, and between us, 48 mil. And you've added a few, so that's about 55.
I think Pepe, they'd be looking to get him out for about 20. But at the moment, there's nobody coming in for Pepe. That's the thing, you know what I mean? There's no interest.
That's the problem.
In Pepe whatsoever. So I do think you're right. I do think it'd probably end up being a loan for Pepe if they want to, you know, the amount of players they're looking. I mean, I even saw a little rumour today that Arsenal are still hanging in there on the Rafinha thing. Because Rafinha still hasn't made up his mind at what he's going to do. The Barcelona thing's not certain because of their financial situation, despite what they're saying. So it still could boil down to Chelsea or Arsenal for Rafinha. So, you know, if Arsenal, you know, and then there's been so many other players that Arsenal been linked to in that position. So surely it's the end for Pepe. But there's just no suitors for him at the moment. Nobody has come in. Unless somebody comes in right near the end of the transfer window. And I don't think it's going to be another Premier League club. I think it's going to be a team outside the Premier League, which I think will then send the value right down. And I can't see no one paying like a 20 to 30 million for him.
Yeah, only way I see that is if it's a loan with an option at the end and hope that loan goes well, like I said.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's hard to see it.
Yeah, but and I heard what you guys were saying about Pepe, and we did overpay for him. I mean, we massively overpaid for him, and you know, I've spoken to a couple of agents since, and they were like, you know, in the agents' world, when we paid that amount of money for Nicolas Pepe, a lot of agents were flabbergasted, and they were saying, what are Arsenal doing? Because he'd been sort of pushed around everywhere. A lot of teams to buy him, and as soon as they heard about the fee, the teams were just like, well, how much? No chance. Yeah. So I think, you know what, again, that's where I'm a bit more pleased with how we've been doing business this season. I feel that there's not the panic stations on at the moment like how we've done it. Pepe, the reason why we paid so much for him is because we were trying to salvage a transfer window.
Yeah, I remember.
And we do that a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, I Arsenal supporters club. Is it time to, you know, start worrying, or is it time to still be patient? And
worrying about what?
The state of affairs going into next season.
With what?
Because we've only bought in Vieira and Jesus. You think that's enough?
You said it earlier. I was listening to you guys. We've spent a lot of money.
What, 84 million so far?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's the second most amount of money any team spent in the transfer window so far.
I know, but we're coming from 5th. Some of those.
Yeah, no, I know. We need to spend that amount of money, but it's not like we ain't done nothing. I feel at the moment you can't look at it and say panic because.
Not panic, worry, because Jesus.
Well, I'm not looking at worried at the moment. No, because the transfer window shuts on the 1st of September. Right, that's like 2 months' time.
Yeah.
Or well.
All right.
Call it. Yeah, 6-7 weeks time. Plenty of time
But
to.
Jordan asked a good question on Supporters Club, which will be out Sunday, people. He said, let's look at Tottenham's front three plus depth. Yeah, let's say Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison. You can see 50, 60 goals there.
Yeah, they've got a great front line.
Now, if we talk about our 3-4, including Jesus coming in, we're still not as confident as they would.
No,
be.
that's why I would have loved to have seen Rafinha come in. But
We need
I'm
another.
with the thing at the moment that I still think it's early in the window. I also want to see us tightening up so we don't concede as many goals as well. You know, because had we conceded less goals last year, we also would have got into the top 4. So, yeah, listen, we got to do what we got to do. I mean, Tottenham have got, as far as the front three are concerned, they've had to do less because they've got such a strong front three to begin with.
It's worrying that they can spend 60 million on depth.
I think they've overpaid
They have,
for.
but they're doing it.
Yeah, no, listen, fair play. I think, me and Expressions were doing Best of Enemies today, and we both said that probably the two teams, Tottenham and Arsenal, are two of the teams that have had the best window so far.
So far, yeah.
But I don't think you can turn around and say worried, because I do think, I don't know if you saw what Paul Merson said the other day.
I saw what you mentioned.
Yeah, and he was saying that, Edu said to him that they're working specifically on another 2.
Do you remember what Gazidi said to you? Do you remember what he said to you all those years ago?
Yeah, but he said that to me.
Yeah.
He said me saying it to Merson, so maybe it might hold a bit more weight. But I think, I don't know. I just think this transfer window is just off going over the ones I've dealt with over the years in doing Transfer Daily. This is the best one so far. And the reason why I say that is because they're doing things early. They're getting main targets in early. I've never. How many times are we going to a pre-season and we've got like the main target?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that pre-season, tomorrow's game, Jesus, Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, they're all ready for that game. You know what I mean? So so at least that's a good sign. But we do have a lot to do. I know Merson said 2 more signings. Well, I think we need more than 2.
Yeah,
but if it's 2 big signings, 2 main signings, I'd still love to. I know it's a dream, man. I would still love to see Rafinha, man. I mean, that would have been a brilliant signing. But I do think we're doing things better than we normally do. So we gotta recognise that.
Or they're selling it to us better than they normally do.
No, they're doing it better than they normally do.
Well,
they're doing it better than they normally do.
Cool. We was in for Rafinha. Let's make sure we get another goal scoring.
Don't you think they're doing it better than they normally do this window? Come on.
Buying Vieira and Jesus, Rob. It's not like we've shook the world. Like it's.
So how many players have Chelsea bought?
No, I know that, but
they haven't bought a player yet.
No,
I know Chelsea are in for. Don't get me wrong. I heard them linked in with Ronaldo today.
Yeah.
Right. They're buying Raheem Sterling. But Arsenal, we can't turn around this transfer window so far and moan too much, because we've done more than even some of those teams. We've done more than Man United. They bought in 1 player so far, which was that Malacia. That's it. You know what I mean? So they're after Lisandro Martinez. We're after Lisandro Martinez. It's going to be interesting to see if Lisandro Martinez chooses Arsenal over Manchester United. That will tell me a lot.
Yeah,
because I'm completely expecting him to go to Man United because he used to play for Ten Hag.
Yeah.
But if he says, actually, I'd rather go to Arsenal, because probably both of them will have the same fee. They'll probably both match the same fee.
Yeah.
That tells me that he's excited about the Arsenal project.
Yeah, it would.
If he decided to do that. I don't know whether, we don't know what's in the minds of these footballers.
It would.
But I'm just saying that, and then I'm just saying that it's different. This window at the moment for me is different to other windows, because we don't normally do this. We don't, honestly, I don't know if you're remembering some of the shambles that we've had over the years, man. The Higuain time when we was linked to him, the whole window.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to just pay that little extra to get that done. The Benzema whole summer thing, oh gosh, man, I could just say
towards the end of last season,
cut and paste for the whole of the last 10 years.
Towards the end of last season, if I asked you how many players do we need in the starting 11, how many would you have said?
In the starting 11, listen, I said it at the time, we need 3 strikers. I would still like to see another striker come in because I think we don't have a plan B type striker. So I'd still like to see a plan B striker. But if we got, say, a Rafinha, someone, we need to add goals to it.
Yeah.
We need to add more goals. You know what I mean? I don't want to be depending on just Jesus. Eddie, we don't know yet what we're going to get, right? So I think we need either another striker or another forward player that can score goals. I agree with you there. We need another midfield. We need someone in that midfield, in the heart of midfield. We need somebody cover at left back. Those 3 positions, I think, minimum we need to fill. And then, you know, I'd still then, after that, be looking around and seeing if any sort of quality is thrown up before the end of the transfer window, and I'd bring them in.
Okay. But, you know, on one hand, we can compare to Chelsea and United and look at what we're doing favourably. But on the other hand, we can compare to Tottenham and say, you've just said, you know, there's still 3 positions you'll still address, yeah? Which kind of means the majority of the improvements in the first 11 and squad still need to be done, the majority, because we brought 2 in. With Tottenham, and you look at, you know, the right backs coming in next for them, whether it's Jed Spence or someone else. I think Lenglet's round the corner in terms of that centre back position.
Lenglet, yeah, that's a loan.
Yeah, it's a loan, but it might be depth. They might bring in another. But Tottenham are 1-2 players away from completing their transfer business.
Yeah,
one player away.
Remember, there's a couple of loans in there that they've done. Arsenal could do a couple of loans before the window closes. You know what I mean? But they've done a couple of those signings. Perisic, Lenglet, they're loans.
Yeah, but Perisic comes straight in left wing back.
Because of his relationship.
Lenglet probably sits next to
He knew
Romero.
Conte from his time at Inter, right? But I'm saying, and plus his contract had finished. Mm-hmm. So his contract is a free agent, so they were able to get it done pretty quickly. But I'm saying that, you know, we've brought in a couple of players. We don't normally do it. I mean, I'm just being grateful at the moment. I know I shouldn't be grateful because, you know, we should always operate like this. But I just like the fact that Arsenal, at this moment in time, are going out there and doing business early in the transfer window. They've got the main guy. The main target for Arsenal was Gabriel Jesus. 3 other teams wanted him. One of those were Tottenham. I can tell you that 100%. Tottenham are one of those other teams that were trying to get him. That's why they had to turn to Richarlison. He didn't go to them. He decided to come to Arsenal. That's the main guy that we needed, the striker. He's coming, you know, and that's a positive for me. That's a real positive. Now, hopefully, he kicks on. I mean, I was talking about it with Lee Judges in our Invincible podcast. If you guys get a chance, please check it out. And I was saying that he could become, well, I don't want to keep too much on him, but I was saying Alexis Sanchez, when he was at Barcelona, it reminds me of the situation with Jesus in that Alexis Sanchez, everybody knew that he was a class player, he was quality, but you hadn't really seen it because he was just like second, third, fourth fiddle at Barcelona. They had Messi, they had all these great players, Xavi, Iniesta and that. Like, he was there. He was just a bit part, right? He came to Arsenal, they're like, yo, you're the main guy here, and he really flourished. I'm hoping that's going to be the same thing with Gabriel Jesus, where he's come from a team where, again, he was just part of a outstanding attacking line, right? So I'm hoping that he could be like Alexis in that grain. So we've got our main guy in that. Fabio Vieira, that was out of the blue for me, but he looks like he's a quality signing. That's a positive, right? And then the others are Marquinhos, is typical Arsenal signing under the radar. We really don't know what we're going to get, you know. But at least they've done some things early, and they're looking at the Sandro Martinez, and there's rumours about Tielemans. These are big players. They're going to spend a lot of money.
Long may it continue, because we still need more this
And
this
as
summer.
I said, just remember some of the other windows.
Yeah,
That window when we signed Petr Cech, that was it.
I've tried to forget
Remember
those
that?
windows. I don't want to go back and
well,
remember
you know what I mean.
them.
Every now and again, when I start having a little whinge about this window, I then look back and remember some of those windows.
But that's like them giving you. That's like them giving you a plain slice of bread 4 years ago. But this year they give you one buttered, and you're like, yeah. But the reality is, what the hell? They're still giving you scraps.
To me, I've just got to be trying to hold on to this a bit of progress, because we've been getting that playing.
But when that window closes, we cannot.
But we've got a long time till it closes. That piece of bread, right, that you're talking about, we've been getting that bread for years.
Yeah, but you want something in that bread.
Going back to even the Pepe thing, that's why we did the Pepe deal, because it was late in the window. They hadn't really done nothing. The fans were getting a bit restless. People around are saying, what kind of team is this Arsenal putting together? And all of a sudden, they think, oh my God, we need to get somebody big. And they go and get Pepe, right? I don't want Arsenal doing business like that. I want a bit of thought and creativity going into the signings, right? And it's not all about, I said this on the stream the other night with James, it's not all about mega names. Because how many times have we seen mega names? Last season, literally all the mega names flopped.
Well, not Man City, Liverpool.
Lukaku.
Oh, you mean the ones coming in?
These mega names,
okay,
100 million, 90 million. Even some of the players that we were, fans were just get him. Just get Alexander Isak. It doesn't matter that it's a 75 million release clause. Just get him. What did he do last year?
Yeah, like 4.
That's why I want more thought going into it. So that's why I'm liking, when I look at Jesus, I'm like, he fits.
You hope he fits.
We hope he fits. In any signing, we hope, but I just look at that and I think it makes, all right, maybe I should use the word, it makes sense.
Was you happier with our strikers going into last season or going into this season? So this season, it's Jesus and Eddie Nketiah. Going into last season, it was Oba, Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, no, last season, obviously, Aubameyang was, the previous season, he was on fire. So you're thinking, really happy with Aubameyang, you know what I mean?
So how can I be overexcited about this strike force now when going into last season, we had more hope in Oba?
Because I just feel there's more of a freshness to it.
Fair. There is freshness.
That's why it's a freshness.
There is freshness.
It's a freshness. So, and sometimes with freshness, that brings a bit of excitement. What are they going to do? How's he going to adapt? How's he going to be? So, but I do acknowledge that I still think in the striker position, I would have another type of striker.
Yeah.
Like an Ivan Toney or somebody like that. Someone who's a bit different that you can utilise in certain games. You can even switch up your play to I would like to see that. I don't think we're going to get that, but I would like to see that.
Nah, that's fair.
Sorry, how much would all that top up to then? 48 million?
My one was 48 million, Laurie's was 40 million. If you've added a couple, yours is probably 52 million.
Right, so, and we spent what?
84.
So we would have spent about, if we can do that, we'd have spent about 40. And it's not only that, it's the amount of wages that takes off of the wage bill is absolutely astronomical. Hector Bellerin alone is on £110,000 a week. That's like what you play what top end players are paid. And he's on that. So that would free up that to really go out there and get a big signing.
Hopefully. Shress here says, glad to see Statfest, James and High End the Sky Robbie taking a chill pill. Need Bellerin, Pepe, Ainsley, Rhys, Leno sold. To be honest, how much you'd pay for them? They're crap. Well, we just go.
What did he say? High in the sky?
Yeah, this was when Laurie was still here. So.
You see, Shreff, behave, man. Behave, Shreff. I normally like you, man, but what's going on?
Tahid says, Turkish Pepe has been great for country. He has Pulisic.
That's true, that's true. When I saw Pepe playing in the African Cup of Nations, right, he looked really impressive. Is Pepe a player that deserves a run? Is Pepe a player that Mikel Arteta, if he can't get in that player he's looking for, has to put an arm round and say, right, you know what, Pepe, I'm going to play you for the next 10 games, but you need to show me what you can do. Because he's never really had a run, has he? He's never really... I personally feel that it's too late for that we should try and sell him, but there's just nobody coming in for him at the moment.
Oh no, Robbie is here. Says Azza, we need a target man. Manpreet says Pepe's purchase was the biggest scam. Well, it looks like it so far. What are your plans in Orlando? Would love to meet. We're there.
We'll be there. You'll be there.
Yeah, I'm there. You're there.
Yeah, I'm there. The guys at the moment are over in Germany. I was chatting to them earlier. They've been getting access. I see their access. They were like in the change rooms, everything.
Enjoying,
stadium in Nuremberg. They got box of box coming out later.
Yeah,
I was watching it. Yeah.
Who authorised that one?
I'll tell you what, the German fan on it's really good, mate. Speaks better English than Cecil. You know what I mean?
Not
But
hard.
yeah.
That's
So
not hard.
those videos coming out later on. The guys are over there. They're really looking forward to seeing Jesus and Marquinhos and Fabio Vieira and all those guys tomorrow. So we got a live watch along to that as well. But we will be in Florida.
And Bob Marley is saying, Robbie's come like Deshane to snap next. Turkish shook. Listen, have you seen what he's done to Nasri? Have you seen what he's done to Nasri?
Deshane.
Benny says, sad we never gave Pepe a run at centre forward where he was so good at Lille.
It's just another thing I was thinking the other day, right? Is that why, if he doesn't go, could he be deployed more centrally?
Yeah, that's what we were saying towards the end of
because that guy's spot on. When he played at Lille, he played more centrally. Although when he was playing in the African Cup of Nations, he was playing wide right as well. He played really well. So, but I do think, listen, if he's not going to go, we need to try and get something, because he can be. Sometimes he produces some magic. It's a goal scorer. He scores goals.
Our attack hasn't really, our transition is still not fluid enough for me to say, it wouldn't help Pepe if we was quicker in that transition. If we was quicker, maybe it helps Saka as well, because Saka gets double team, triple teamed a hell of a lot. If we was quicker in the transition, more one-on-one scenarios. Oz says Sanley left Arsenal a day after Josh Kroenke said Arsenal launched an internal investigation into the Pepe signing. Lille, a discount on Gabriel since the transfer was corrupt.
Well, listen, there's a lot of really weird transfers during that period, and the Willian transfer as well. That's another one which I could never get my head around. There's been some funny transfers, man, that you're just like, what's Runason? There's been some. That's why I said when you start thinking about those, right, we better be grateful with what's going on now.
That's what I'm saying. All they've done is butter the bread this year, and more good. Where's the jam and the honey and all of that stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you think about some of those signings, mate, it is jam on it. I'm telling you.
Cool. Jam to you is still butter to me. Shrez says, Robbie, they've spent money, but Tottenham have addressed their problem areas. We have spent money, but not covered the leaks. Why should we bother about United, Chelsea, Liverpool and City?
Well, they're our rivals, isn't it? And, I'm just making the point that when everybody starts losing it and saying that we ain't, we ain't made no signing, blah, blah, blah. Look at Chelsea have not made a signing yet. Man United have made one signing, right? These are clubs that have, limitless money, right? They haven't done nothing yet, right? They will do things, and that's why we should be patient, because I'm not saying those clubs are not going to do, but we've actually done stuff before them. With Tottenham, much as I hate Tottenham, you have to be impressed with the business they've done so far.
Yeah, Matt said it as well. Yeah.
They have done very good business. You know what I mean? I still feel that Basuma would have been a good signing for us, but that boat sailed. They got Basuma. That seems like a good signing. Yeah, listen, the signings they've made, they look decent. But then we've heard that before with Tottenham. Yeah, I mean they were jumping up and down when they signed Ndombele. They were jumping up and down when they signed Emerson Royale. Right, none of those have worked out, so
it's a big season for them.
Let's
as well. Max says, Robbie speaking facts. Robbie's substitute was the best thing that's happened
you see that?
On this show by Brennan and the management. And also Turkish.
They say with a substitute, they call a lot of substitutes nowadays the finisher.
Yeah, what are you saying? You're coming on
that guy comes on like Grealish, comes in late,
prime.
Just finishes it off, super sub.
But yeah, he said also Turkish. He was talking some rubbish about you when you were away. Tag me, link me to the rubbish that was being spouted. I need to hear
that. What did I say? I don't remember.
Of course you don't. Iron Man says we need a 6 foot plus physical striker. You've said Tony, I've said Schick all summer. Schick signed a new contract.
Even that Skamaka looks decent. I mean, he'd probably end up at PSG, but he looks decent. I know he'd be a lot of money, but I think Ivan Toney would be, that'd be a great plan B. He's played in the league. I love the way he holds the ball up. He's a quality player. Wouldn't be cheap, but he's a quality player. So yeah, I mean, Schick signed a new deal, didn't he?
Yeah, that's the only thing about him. But he was second top scorer in Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Another super chat here from Luke saying Fulham. I guess Leno 10 to 11 million deal to be done this week, hopefully.
Yeah, spoke about it on Transfer Daily this morning. They're closing in on that. Leno going to be joining Fulham. Yeah, that's 10 million in.
Yeah, and Haiti, he's swap Pepe for Sarr or Cornet.
It's not as easy as that, though.
Yeah,
You know.
Sometimes swap deals is just give us the money and let us.
Yeah. The thing is about it, right? Watford are not going to take Pepe. Pepe's not going to want to go to Watford. They're in the Championship. That's impossible. It's not going to happen. And Pepe is not going to swap with Maxwell Cornet, who's a fella Ivory Coast player, to go and play in the Championship with Burnley. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So those things, it sounds so easy. I'll just swap them. It don't happen like that. You know what I mean? That's the thing about the transfer window. It's a lot more complicated than what we believe and what we think. Hence why a club like Chelsea, you've got, you know, probably 200 odd million pounds to spend this window, are finding it so difficult to actually spend it at the moment.
Yeah.
Because deals are, you know, they're not as straightforward as they thought. They thought, hey, it's 65 million on the table, Rafinha, come on. Rafinha's turned around and said, well, actually, I don't really want to go to Chelsea. I want to go to Barcelona.
I'll wait.
So I'll wait and see what happens at Barcelona. And so there's nothing they can do. Even if they turn around and offer 100 million, if the player don't want to come, he ain't coming. It's the same with Lisandro Martinez at the moment. I feel that both clubs have not gone in hard yet, because he's still making up his mind where he really wants to go to. Do I want to go to United and play with Ten Hag, or do I want a new project with Arsenal? Until I've made up my mind exactly what I'm going to do. So both teams, I feel, this is my opinion, are just holding fire a bit and saying, well, all right, let's wait and see, because they don't want to get embarrassed, go all in like what Chelsea have done, to find out that the player doesn't really want to go there. So that's what I think. That plays out a lot in transfers at this time of year. Or it can be a thing where a player has said to you, yeah, I'm coming, man. I'm only coming to you, which is what I think happened with Jesus.
Yeah.
Where Arsenal were just able to say, all right, cool, when you come back off your holiday, we've already spoken to City. We know they'll accept the 45 mil. And over you come, and that one was done, even despite 3 clubs coming in from it, you know, trying to gazump the deal.
But that's why maybe Arsenal are confident in waiting for Tielemans, because it sounds like he wants to come to us. So.
Yeah, the Tielemans one is still a bit strange to me that Arsenal haven't
bid.
You know, I thought if in the case of Tielemans that they know that he really wants to come, why not get it done early so he can be over for pre-season? I've been that one seemed a bit strange to me. We did a poll yesterday, actually. Who would you prefer, Tielemans or Milinkovic-Savic?
Milinkovic-Savic. I'd prefer him, but I'd be happy with Tielemans as well. I've seen more of Tielemans, but I think Milinkovic-Savic is a better tackler, and he's got a bit more about his game in terms of box to box, whereas Tielemans is more attack orientated than Savic. So for me, Savic would be perfect. A good balance.
You know, as well for Turkish, you know what, this season I want to see us play Sambi Lokonga as a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, well, we don't know what he is yet, do we?
That's what he is.
Okay.
He's not a defensive midfielder. I want to see him play as a box-to-box.
Oh yeah, if company said Yaya, then yeah, you know, that's what Yaya was excelled at, but he done a lot of good jobs. Aldiris says, put the ball away, scoring goals all day. Number 9, he leads the line. Gabby J, you are divine. And that is the last super chat.
That's the song.
Yeah, must be the song. And actually, Sean's asked, what do you think about Pepe as a swap deal for Yuri? I did mention it earlier. If Leicester were interested, we would have heard that already.
Yeah, and again, the player has to be interested. That's the thing about all these deals. You know, it's all right us saying, yeah, swap him for Yuri Tielemans, but if Pepe says, well, actually, I don't want to go and play for Leicester. You know, not even in Europe this year. I don't want to, you know, I'll swap, but it has to be with the top team. Well, I'm not disrespecting Leicester, but a team that's, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about these things, man. It's not as simple as how we make it out. Wish it was.
A couple more just come in. Max says, Turkish, we may have been having bread, but right now we're getting jam on that bread. I'd even say we've upgraded to Subway. I don't know if you have that in the UK. We do. It's a sandwich shop here in Australia. We do, my guy. But I'm telling you, there's no jam on the bread yet. There is no jam on the bread.
Peanut butter on it.
Nah, peanut butter.
A little bit of peanut butter on that bread, man. You know what I mean? Trust me, man. You know what I mean? Think about the other windows, Turkish. You should know. You suffered them with me. Think about those.
But should I tell you what,
Petr
Rob?
Cech.
Yeah,
that
Xhaka
window.
and Mustafi.
Yeah,
that
and all these little last-minute panic buy windows. You know what I mean? Remember even going back to when we got all Podolski and all them in, right?
When we got our manager in.
You know, Lastminute.com, panic buy. Normally Arsenal, first thing they do, selling this person, selling that person. Got to clear the decks first before they buy. At least, look, you've got a list of players there that we need to get rid of that will go, that they've not sold one, only Guendouzi they've sold so far. And it's not like they're in a panic at the moment. They're like, first of all, let's get our targets. And that's showing me that they've learned a bit from their mistakes. And I'm liking that. You know, so that's what's filling me with a bit of hope at the moment. Whereas in years gone by, that list would have to be knocked off first, or the majority of that list, before even one player come through the door.
Okay, fair.
No, it's true, innit?
Yeah, you're right. We have done other things before where, you know, we brought in Cazorla, Podolski and then sold Van Persie to make it up at the end. But we haven't got a Van Persie to do that this season. So listen, the next 3-4 weeks will tell us an awful lot.
Peanut butter there, man.
Yeah, we'll see if it's peanut butter or just dry ass bread we're still eating. Stress here with the last one. Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City have ready to go in-depth squads. They buy selectively. That's why we shouldn't bother. Tottenham didn't have Conte. He came mid-season and he's got top 4.
Well, look, Chef, Chelsea's buying over the past couple of seasons has been very questionable at best. Let's have a look at some of the players they bought in, right? Out of all of them, probably only Havertz. And he's not been a complete, but I'd say I like Havertz.
Yeah.
Because nearly £90 million, right? Ziyech, flop. They're selling him now, right? A flop Ziyech, yeah? Flop. Remember all these guys that were getting at me, Chelsea fans, but let's be real, he's flopped. Pulisic flopped. Spent, that was nearly 60-70 million pounds. Lukaku, absolute flop, nearly 100 million pounds. Timo Werner, 60-odd million pounds, flop.
Yep.
Right, these are all signings that Chelsea have made, right? And you would look on it, Shref, and say, "Oh, brilliant! Hey, look at what Chelsea are doing." They've all flopped because it's more than just going out there and just buying the big name out there. It's getting a player that's going to fit the system that's why Lukaku's not a bad player. But if you get Lukaku in your team has to play to his strengths. And Chelsea don't play that way. So it was never going to work. Just like when he went to Man United, he don't play that. But when he's at Inter now, everything goes through him. That's why it works. When he plays for Belgium, it's get the ball in behind to Lukaku. That's why it works. So that's what I'm saying. It has to fit. So, you know, you can say Chelsea, but they have not done good transfer business for a few seasons. They bought in a load of big names, but they ain't worked.
They haven't, yeah.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, they bought in big names, but it hasn't worked.
Yeah, Ronaldo went to Man United. He did well for himself personally, flopped. Jadon Sancho, flopped. Varane, flopped. There's a lot of big names that are flopped.
Yeah, it's about getting it right as well. It's about getting it right.
It's about getting it, you know what I mean? And then some of the people that we wouldn't even... Chelsea, for instance, let alone Conor Gallagher, apparently I was a revelation, made it into the England team. So that's what I'm just saying. Sometimes I'm not even criticising you because it happens even with me. We get caught up with these mega names. I said it yesterday. Whatever happened to Hossein Mawar?
That guy.
Get him, everyone said. Get him. He don't care how much. 100 million, it don't matter. Just pay it. Yeah?
No, he just headed out on, I don't know where.
As he said, Alexander Isak. Mm-hmm. I remember looking at the time and thinking, boy, this guy's record, he really scored many goals. Yeah, he looked all right in the Euros. Hasn't really scored a lot of goals. I don't see any team coming in for Alexander Isak at the moment this season. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm just saying I don't see any teams. Last season, they wanted 75 million release clause or forget it.
Now,
what would they get for him now?
No suitors. On that note, Gnabry come home.
Gnabry come home. Would you take Wilfried Zaha?
Nah.
Somebody was suggesting it to me yesterday.
Nah.
I would. He
you know,
the age is a bit, but I like him still.
I like Zaha, but I just think, it's time to...
That's another one. Wan-Bissaka flopped. 50 mil.
Yeah. It's about getting it right as well. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's about getting it right. Systems are like puzzles. You have to get the right
Grealish.
piece to complete it. Yeah, so far I've been.
I only think Grealish has flopped really because he's gone into such a strong team, and it's been very difficult for him to establish himself. I do think he's a quality player. I do think, say for instance, if Grealish come to Arsenal, he would have worked. But systems.
Dane here says Robbie's sending shots to our rivals with the Arsenal cannon. Big up the Don and Turkish. There you go. Any last thoughts, Rob?
No, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing the content that these guys are doing over there in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm still gutted that I couldn't go. Unfortunately, I've got to go to a funeral tomorrow, a friend of mine that passed away. So, but looking forward to watching Arsenal play tomorrow and seeing Gabriel Jesus, and looking forward to, you know, in the flesh, seeing these new signings play. I am with you. We need more.
Yeah.
We can't stop now. Edu's spoken about, and Paul Merson said that Edu said that at least another 2 exciting players are going to come in. I think we need at least another 3 exciting players, and then we just sit back, get rid of some of these guys, sit back and see if any bargain comes up before the end of the transfer window.
Effect, yeah.
But there's some good players out there we can sign, even if, you know, Rafinha would have been, you know, but even I wouldn't be against a Marco Asensio.
Yeah, nor would I.
I wouldn't be against that. You know what I mean? He's available.
Nor would I.
You know what I mean? Lissandro Martinez.
I want him.
I think he would be a great signing. He fits the profile. Tielemans would be a good signing. Milinkovic-Savic. I'm just glad that we're being linked with some quality players. I don't think these players that we're linked to are overhyped players. I think that they're players that are proven, players that can come and add something to Arsenal. It's not going to be the players that win us the league, but I definitely feel that it's players that can start to move us forward towards maybe getting into the top 4, and
Not maybe, getting into the top 4.
well, yeah, well, we need to have a team. What I want to see with Arsenal, just I'd say my last thing on this is, what I want to see with Arsenal is that a team put together that is capable of getting into the top 4. Not like last season where we looked at it for, ooh, if we do it, we're punching. Mm-hmm. I want to see a team that, right, Mikel, you've got the team to get us in there, now go and do it. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, listen, top 4 for me this season is a must. Third year of the process. Whatever you do in the next 4 weeks, Arsenal, let's just hope it's the final pieces of the puzzle and the project finally goes bang. The jam, the peanut bar, the whatever it is, whatever you guys eat out there. No, not me, but there's some people out there might like Marmite. You lot can enjoy that. It is what it is. Love for the love people. Hit the like button on your way out. Let's get it over 1,000 nice and early. We are back tomorrow. There's a watch along. There's content coming out from Germany. And before you do leave, shop.aftv.co.uk. There's 10% off. Use the discount code JZEUS and you can grab 10% off all items on shop.aftv.co.uk. So look out for that. Nice Thierry jumper here. You know, I go for the old school.
Oh, by the way, and if you guys ain't doing anything later on, the Women's Euros are on over on DR and DR Sports. I'm hosting it tonight. England, they played last night, 1-0. Beth Mead, Arsenal players scored. It's Northern Ireland's turn tonight, so I'm going to be hosting that. Ty's on it as well. We're going to have a real laugh tonight, right? So make sure you come over and check that out.
Love for the love, people. We're out.